Hello, and welcome to Putting You on the Spot, the podcast that puts you in the spotlight. And today we have a local hard rock heavy metal band. You know them, you love them, Terror Garden.
Hi.
Hello.
Hey.
What's going on, folks?
What's happening, bro?
Doing good. Happy to be here.
Yeah, thanks for coming down. We've had quite a night already, so I'm glad to get started.
A little delayed here, but it's all good.
Yeah,
All good.
It's
Yeah.
rock and roll.
This is the business, though, isn't it? That's how it
Rock and
always
roll,
goes.
that's it. As long as we fixed everything.
Exactly.
Roll with it.
Yep.
So, all right, I guess let's start off. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
Left to right.
Sure.
Ladies first.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm G. I hit things. I'm the drummer.
Mike, guitar.
Wild Bill, bass.
Paul Terra, vocals and obscenities.
All right, and so you guys have been around for a while. You've gone through quite a few iterations. So but one thing that's great about you guys is you do not lack in content. Like I was checking out the pages the past couple of weeks. You guys have tons of videos, which is great, especially right now that nobody can go out anywhere.
Yeah.
So there's plenty to watch of you guys and to see like the growth that you guys have gone through. But the one thing that's remained is you guys kick ass.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
So I love.
That's awesome.
I love you can hear the combinations of some of the old school, some of the new school, like a little Black Label Society, and then just some straight rock, and then some heavy, just heavy metal kind of stuff. So
It's all over. I gotta be honest. People ask me, what kind of music do you play? And I gotta sit there and scratch my head because we're hard rock, we're metal, we're punk, we're funk. You definitely can't label us like the Ramones. It's not repetitious. Basically, everything's different, and that's what keeps it alive and keeps it going. I think if I was to play music like Ramones style repetitious, I would have lost interest in this project a long time ago.
yeah, absolutely. It's funny. There was a bass player I used to work with, and his favorite bands was the Ramones, and he was a fantastic
love the
bass player.
Ramones.
Yeah, they're great.
They're
But
awesome.
we'd be trying to write stuff, and he was a fantastic bass player, and I'm trying to write like a little bit more progressive, but still with like a hard
Right.
rock kind of feel. And like it'd be verse, chorus, a break, another chorus,
Right.
verse, and then I'd start throwing other stuff in there. He's like, no, it's got to be verse, chorus, chorus.
I know.
Oh,
I
you're
know.
like A, B, A, B,
Yeah,
C,
which there's nothing wrong with that, but I want to do something a little different. He's
Exactly.
like, that's not the Ramones. That's
You
not
want
the
to
formula to
expand on
success.
it.
And
You
I'm
want to
like,
expand on it.
yeah. So, but everybody's got their thing. So, what drives you guys for for your writing process?
Life. Right?
Our writing process, over the past year, has been phenomenal. Basically, back in the day, a lot of our bassist wrote a lot of the material, so it had like that kind of sound to it. Whereas when you have a guitar player writing stuff, it sounds totally different. It's the different aspects of the members, and it's also what kind of music you're into also.
Yeah.
But our writing processes these days, thank God for modern technology. I got an idea for something, so now you record it. And that's what we've been doing. Everyone gets ideas for some stuff. So record it. And like you said, this whole pandemic turned everything upside down.
Oh yeah.
So as far as live, nothing's really planned. So we still do weekly rehearsals. Bill came aboard in June. He basically learned the entire catalog, which was 3 CDs worth of material, and also the covers we throw into, because, we're a local band, and there are no big venues to play anymore.
Especially
so a lot of times you got to play Joe's Corner Bar, and they want 3 sets. And everyone these days, covers. We live on Long Island, the tribute capital of the world. Everybody wants covers. Everybody wants tributes. And you have an original band. And you have no original clubs. So you have to make do. You have to throw covers in to get your original music out there.
Yep. I don't understand it. Like, you know, I guess, like, it's nice and comfortable. You're paying that $10 to get into the bar. You're going to be buying drinks and stuff like that. You want to hear stuff that you can sing along to. Like, I understand, but, like, haven't you got tired of listening to B.A.B. all day long? You want to go out and watch, like, you know, four jack-offs go out and play the same songs you just listened to all day?
If I had $1 for every time I sang Roadhouse Blues, I'd be sitting in a mansion right now. Seriously. It's like people are creatures of habit, and they want to go out after a long week of work, and they want to hear that everybody's jerking off this weekend, and they want to hear all this kind of stuff that New York radio throws down your throat. So basically, Journey, Billy Joel, everyone's on the Van Halen kick now that Eddie passed away.
Yep.
So when it comes to original music, everyone's like a little leery. It's kind of like you have the virus.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, "Oh, original! Oh,
What's that?"
I want to hear. I want to hear Back in Black. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, like it's you know, it's fun and I kind of get it, but there's enough bands doing it already. You listen to it all day. Don't you want to go out and see what your fellow people
Something
are like?
new.
Like, it's also a lot of musicians don't understand, like, you know, the non-musicians, the normies out there, just don't understand how much work goes into, like, writing stuff. They really don't.
We just had this talk.
They don't.
They don't understand what goes behind putting a show together. The rehearsals, getting tight, dealing with the club owner, promoting the show, trying to get people to come down.
Yeah.
People don't even want to leave the house these days. Not that I blame them. Right now on Long Island, the whole corona thing is in full swing. And
Yeah.
I had 2 friends die this week from this
Sorry about
corona.
that.
It's awful. So am I going to risk my life to go hear somebody sing Roadhouse Blues right now? No, I think I'll wait a couple months till the shit passes through,
Yeah.
and then go back out. So people are leery of going out to begin with. It's winter. All shows are inside. People are leery of that. Come springtime, we have outside social distancing and the vaccine for what it is, whatever. You want it, you don't want it. To each their own.
Yeah.
But they're trying to at least bring live music back. You know, they have COVID sniffing dogs now too.
Yeah, I seen that. That's something else right there.
Yeah.
And in China, they're giving you the anal swab.
Yeah, exactly.
I bet it's the same dogs that sniff out drugs.
Yeah.
Probably trained them to do different things.
Yeah, and they can smell just about anything. I think they were training them to smell cancer in people, like in hospitals and stuff like that. Yeah, their noses are like, we know a dog's nose is pretty intense, but like they're finding out more and more what they can train them to find. It's
Yeah,
it's
I see how the cops always use the German shepherds. I always thought they should use hound dogs because
They're bloodhounds.
yeah.
They're probably harder to keep quiet though. Hounds love to howl.
Yeah,
You know?
Me too.
Yeah, those the shepherds though, they're great dogs.
Yeah.
They're
Shepherds
work
are
dogs.
awesome.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
We had a neighbor that had one, and luckily he had a big yard. That dog would be out there running laps for hours. He was terrifying.
They don't stop.
Yeah.
A couple of them will pull you on your sled.
Yep.
No doubt.
So yes, 3 albums worth of material you guys got. You just put one out. What was it, last year?
September.
Yep.
Yeah, last
not that
September.
long ago.
Oh, look at that, Mike. Yeah.
Keep it real.
Oh, yeah, that's the.
This is our CD, Keep It Real.
I don't get involved.
We recorded this just like the previous one at Crescent Sound Studios in Farmingdale. And we're very happy with this. Some really good material, some really good stuff. Since then, we've been down to a 4-piece band. We've been auditioning guitar players for a second guitar slot. Haven't come up with anyone we're happy yet, but hopefully soon. Yep. And I gotta say, Mike playing 2 guitar parts, he really floored us. He really kicked ass on covering 2 guitar parts.
Yeah.
Thank you, Paul.
And especially because you got to cover for Johnny Wildchild, who's a madman. You know, he was with you guys last, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
So-
He was with the band for a long time.
Yeah.
And I played alongside him for about, I think, 3 years.
3 years.
Wow. So
Yeah.
so at least by that point you had everything down, so you were able to carry it on afterwards. So
Well,
My best.
Mike did most of the writing on the last 2 CDs.
that's fantastic.
And actually, the CD before, the bassist did a lot of writing on that. So that covered that, which was a good thing. So Mike already knew it because he wrote it. But now we're just trying to. We want a fuller sound. With that double guitar, you get a fuller sound, and that's what we're looking for.
Yeah. There's always you can do the A-B kind of thing where you're running 2 amps at the same time and you can set them
thought
to a
about
different
that.
thing. I've seen guys do that, but it's still,
Either that or the loop.
or the loop.
Or you
exactly.
can do the loop. But doing the loop is kind of like a Def Leppard thing where you're going to put all these vocals added and effects and instruments. And our thing is, if you can't do it live, don't do it.
Yeah, exactly. And another thing with the looper pedal that I think some people forget is especially if you're doing pre-recordings. If you're doing something where you're playing a rhythm guitar track, you play it for 2 measures, and then you loop it and you go on.
Depends on
That's-
repetition.
Yeah, that's one thing.
Yeah.
And that works because when you're playing live, you're not always absolutely dead on unless you're playing to a click track. So if you're trying to play to recorded stuff, now you got to get into your monitors. You got to play to a click track, and it becomes a whole nother game.
And not only that, it's another writing partner, another influence.
Yep.
That's the whole thing. You get people that contribute into the writing process. Everybody's throwing their different thing there. And it's like a puzzle, putting it together. It's like, hey, that sounds good. Let's add this. Well, that part you were playing before for that other song that didn't work out, it's going to sound great on this song. So,
Together, yep.
Yeah.
so the whole writing process, and that would be another partner, another harmony on the vocals. So it has a lot of benefits.
Another crowd following, could be
And like Paul was saying before, it's been a mix of sometimes we'll dig through a whole vault of riffs that we have saved on our Dropbox, and
Or something will come to us.
or some, or we'll just naturally jam in a room and see what happens. So
Something
it's been
will
a
come.
mix of both those kind of
Yeah.
methods.
All right. And so now with Corona and everything like that, how has your output been with rehearsals? You saying you're still practicing?
We
at least
still
once a
rehearse
week?
every week.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when everything first happened, we didn't for a few months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like everybody else. We,
with,
We took our break.
yeah, we definitely did. And
And then we had Bill, who had joined the band. So another guy working his ass off, covered the whole catalog. And
went up for bass boot camp.
yeah.
seriously, he works a 12-hour day and goes right to rehearsal and just,
the only way to do it,
So,
man. The only way is all the way.
Yes.
dedication.
You're going to do it. Do it right. Don't do it half-assed.
No, absolutely
Don't do
not.
it, yeah. The only way is all the way.
But yeah, with the lack of shows, we've actually started to early skeletons of writing a 4th album now.
All right.
Yes.
Literally within the past month.
Months, yeah.
Yeah, maybe even week. Yeah.
So the creative flow is still going.
Jumping
which is
around.
good.
Yeah.
What else are we gonna do at this point?
Exactly. Right now, you see who's going to put up and who's going to shut up. Because
Yeah.
right now you got nothing else to do, and there's not a lot. There's either people that are putting out videos all the time. They're writing. You can see the growth, and then there's other people that just dipped off.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Kinda.
Either that or they're working on their cover songs.
Yeah, there's that. Which don't get me wrong, that can
There's
be
nothing
fun.
wrong with
Covers are great for money.
But if you're an original band and all you got is okay, here's some Led Zeppelin for you, it's like
I'm in a couple of different projects, and covers are great for money.
Yeah, of course.
Covers are
Might
great
as
for
well,
money. That's how you make your money.
Yeah.
Shit, I'll make $1,200 if I do weddings. A man. $1,200 a man. And I'm singing the worst music there is. I'm singing Johnny Mathis. Another
Don't rip
song.
on Johnny Mathis. Come on.
Brown Eyed Girl. If I
sang
had
the Family
$1 for
Ties
every
theme.
time I sang that, forget it. I'd have a nice
Brown Eyed
Porsche.
Girl, I like.
Yeah, I did the first 1,700 times, but after that, when it was 1,701, I was like, nah, no
Now
more.
you're out.
No
Now
more.
you're out.
No
We
more.
we have all different types of covers too. We have super popular ones, more deep cuts, a little bit. We kind of have to read the crowd and what kind of show we're gonna play.
You have to read the room also.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because these rooms don't like hard rock and metal. So you're playing your ZZ Top or, stuff like that. And then you got rooms that'll tolerate that. So now you're playing your Seven Dust and your Sabbath. And, so you got to feel the room.
Yeah.
We played this one room one time, and this guy was snapping. Something's loud. I don't know what it is.
Jeez.
Wait, I put my finger on it. It's the drums. Could you lower the volume on the drums?
This is like halfway through a triple set.
Lower the volume on the drums.
No, but let me tell.
Yeah,
let me just
that's
say,
too much.
poor Mike. I yelled at him on stage because this person was asking him to tell me, can you ask your drummer if she has lighter sticks? So I see the guy talking to Mike, and I see Mike kind of like, okay, like he just didn't want to turn around and tell me because I was already. I don't remember what I was mad at. I was mad at
Can
something.
you play softer?
That's exactly what he did, and I was like,
Literally, these boss straws.
"What are lighter sticks? What are you talking?" And I yell at this poor guy. It's not even him.
Literally every song on this set that night, John and I were getting reamed for the volume we were playing at, no matter what we did.
Plenty of places I played.
chopsticks.
It is what it is.
Now,
but
don't
it
get me
was-
wrong. From a sound engineer's point of view, sometimes
Exactly.
too much stage volume can be too, can be too
yes.
loud.
No
There's-
doubt.
there-
The
there's-
sound man was kind of going against what the owner was saying.
I know. That was
So we kept going back and forth.
And that's what I was gonna say. If it's not the sound guy that's saying, "Hey, can you do this?" then fuck the rest of them.
Lesson learned.
Respect always, but it was just really funny because I was like, "What are lighter sticks? What are you talking about?"
Well, funny you mention that. This must be a topic of conversation out in the ether because I just seen on Facebook maybe 2 weeks ago. I don't remember if it was Vic Firth or some independent company. They have this new material stick where you can play full volume, but I guess it's got like a little rubberish to it, so you can hit at full velocity, but it makes a softer sound.
It's the sound offs.
Maybe that's what it is. Yeah.
That's cool.
Sure, those aren't vibrators.
Vibrating drumsticks.
So, but again, that must be a topic of conversation. Or like we had a band in here, Wretched Dominion. They're from the Bronx, and so when they're trying to rehearse, like the drummer was saying, even if I'm using an electronic drum kit in my apartment, people are still banging on the wall. You're too loud just from the sound of
Hitting the pads.
Yeah.
People
Thin
don't realize how
walls.
hard drummers have it. You guys could plug into something and have headphones and practice at 3 a.m.
All can
It's
sing
not
anywhere
fair.
he wants. So we can just
really
put our
is.
volume super
Our
low.
instruments don't take up
Us
much room
drummers,
either.
we
Like
get
your
picked
instrument
on.
takes up a whole lot of room too.
Yeah.
You need a lot of space.
It's
Again, people have no idea what it takes. If they're not a musician, they have no idea. Even like as far as some like the crazier metal stuff, there's some stuff that's even a little too extreme for me. I like everything from like soft rock to the hard rock. I
Right.
like even
Yeah, I
pop
like that
music,
too,
all
man.
that.
Yeah.
But like some of my mother, she likes hard rock, and then I play her something with like a little death metal kind of sound to it. She's like, that's just noise. I'm like, you know what it takes to play guitar. Do you understand how much technicality it takes to play those riffs?
Yeah.
coordination and everything. Until you try, some people do have it and they don't realize it. But
Yeah.
when you try, they're like, oh my God, like it looks like fun. It is, but you got to be able to kind of do it, and they don't understand that,
Yeah.
But
So
that's why we do it.
As far as practice, what's your guys' practice style go? Do you go in and you do like, okay, we're gonna work on a couple of our regular songs, and then you start writing, or is it just kind of like a in and out kind of thing as it comes?
Depends. If a show comes up, we'll come up with a specific set list, practice it, and maybe if there's some leftover time, let's try to bounce some new original ideas around now. All right, let's go back to the toughest 2 songs in the set, plow through them, build up stamina at some rehearsals. Then there's other rehearsals where we're just writing because there ain't no shows coming up. So we're just kind of like just collaborating riffs and everything and scribbling on paper and just stuff like that. So, yeah, it depends. It's different every time.
Okay, yeah. and you guys have an amazing catalog to choose from. So, I was listening to some of it early today. What was it? Learn to Drive? Yeah. Oh, man, that song has got...
Yeah, our catalog, I think...
my daughter's favorite song.
That's cool.
Is it?
Yeah.
I think with all the...
Because she came out and said, she goes, Dad, that's my favorite song you guys do. I said,
that's awesome.
Right, great.
Yeah, that song is so driving.
I think with the originals and covers, we have about 50 songs in our catalog, and our normal show we're playing 10 songs. So we
get to
there's 40 great songs, so we have to be like, sorry.
Yeah, and then you got to play the standards of what people like.
Yeah.
But we switch it up every show. We don't ever play the same set.
Never done the same set.
That's
ever.
cool. There's a couple of I won't mention them, but there was a couple of local bands that I used to love. They were tight. They sounded great. But like over 1 year, I'd see the same set list, and like if it was a shorter set list, they might just knock off the last 2 songs. But like they're jumping in the same spot. And like, don't get me wrong, like a performance is a performance, and each band is going to do their own thing. But for me personally, it's like I just seen you last week do the same set.
Yeah.
You could pull that off if you're going state to state, but if you're in the same state, the island's small. I mean, if you're doing the same, it's going to be noticeable in a smaller area.
Yeah, and that's the difference between like I think it becomes more of a performance than like a musical performance. It's like okay,
more like a mowing the lawn.
We know it on this drop, bam, they're all gonna jump. And like don't get me wrong, it looks cool too, but like again, when you're doing the local circuit, don't be doing that every other week. Come on, pick it up a little bit.
Change it a little bit.
I think Pearl Jam's one of those bands that they never play the same set. Maybe like if they're in Seattle, they'll play one set, and then by the time they make it to New York, maybe they'll
be changed.
Yeah, but they change. And of course some of their encore songs are like staples now, like "Rockin' in the Free World." I remember years ago they were playing. It was before. It was Bush and somebody, and Eddie Vedder's very political and everything. He's like, I feel in the spirit of democracy. I should read some of these signs out here. Somebody holds up. Can we play "Rockin' to the Free World" with you? He's like, no, it's 3 fucking chords. I think they got it. They've been playing the song for like 15 years.
And it's not even asked.
Yeah, exactly.
That's one of our covers, actually.
There you go. And there's so many cool ways to do that song. We used to do one in a drop C tuning and just make it super heavy and chunky, all like doom metal sounding.
Right.
Nice.
Like you're sawing wood.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many ways to turn things around and do something new with it,
Yeah, man.
And so, speaking of which, when you guys do covers, like you did a Golden Earring cover, right? Radar Love.
Yeah.
So when you're doing a cover, what?
Twilight Zone.
Oh, Twilight Zone.
Radar
That's
Love's a
right.
great song,
Yeah, Twilight Zone. I knew it was Golden Earring. I always think Radar Love.
The
White Lion.
CD only bonus track on this, by the way.
And we actually had to pay to put that
The
on
royalties,
CD.
yeah.
We
licensing.
did,
Yeah, you got to, because now in the digital age, you never know. If something gets passed, and nobody gets away from it anymore.
No, they'll find you.
But I think there were some people representing the guitarist from Twilight Zone. We actually sent a copy. They asked for our
and they wanted a copy of it because
to Holland.
Yeah, because he does a collection of bands that redo some of their songs.
Oh, that's awesome.
And
That's
the
cool,
guitarist was like, "Oh, I heard this and it sounded really good. Could you send me a recording?" So Mike's like, "Yeah, $10."
We gotta pay. Give us some of that back.
Actually, yeah.
So when you guys are doing a cover, what's the process in that? And like, okay, we're gonna do a cover. It's got to have some of that original sound, but like you want to put your own flair on it. How do you go about that?
I think
It really depends. Some we
give it
really
a good listen to with everybody around us. Just listen to it. There's certain fundamentals of the song that gotta be there, and then there's other parts where you could put your own twist on and come up with a cool.
Perfect example. We just started covering "Can't Stand Losing You" by the Police.
Okay.
Yes, right on.
And it's a pretty tricky
It's a fun song.
with the timing if you're not paying attention. And we were having a little problems with the intro, and we
came up with the
We
I don't know if I can
terrorized
say
it.
the word.
what was it?
Paul already cursed, so we're good.
Just a way that we could not mess it up.
Okay.
And
It's like gears of a clock, the inside, how each pieces do it. So we came up with an unfuckwithable way to do it.
Intro and outro.
and outro too.
Yeah.
We start it and then kind of finish it the same way.
That's cool.
Pretty fun.
I can't wait to hear that. Because like the
fun.
Police, while they're a huge band, they're at the same time they're huge, but nobody can really be like, oh, it's because of this. It's because they're just catchy. But nobody, I don't think, realizes the intricacies of that band. Especially what's the drummer's name? Stuart Copeland. Yeah.
Oh my God!
awesome.
What a drum!
He is so underrated outside, like, musicians, like, you can hear it and be like, oh, that's something else. But for most people, oh, that's a cool little poppy
Exactly.
tune.
And
Like,
he played
Meticulous.
traditional
Yes.
grip
Oh.
too. He didn't use match grip. He played the traditional, like the jazz drummers
Yeah.
and stuff, and he was doing those crazy things. He was
yeah, his timing is
really
always
good.
dead on point, even when they play live. Even when he's playing off the beat, but he's still in time all the time. It's insane.
And they were a trio.
Walking on the moon.
Three people, awesome.
Yeah.
Definitely.
stuff.
He is definitely underrated.
Yeah,
He is.
100%. I think he was on what was that show? Storage Wars. One of the guys, the eccentric older guy.
Right.
He found a symbol in a storage unit, and he's like, I'm going to call up my buddy Stuart Copeland. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And Stuart,
Well, that guy used to be
answered
in the
the phone.
music industry.
oh, that's
That guy
right.
Barry, who
Yeah,
was on
Barry,
that
that's
TV
it.
show, he was involved with the music industry. That's how he got his money back in the day.
Gotcha. So I always wondered. I never looked into him,
It's
but I
like,
was
how
like,
does he know? He was hanging out with Aerosmith on the show. And he's like, yeah, let me give Steven Tyler a call. I'm like, yeah, who the fuck's got Steven Tyler on their speed
seriously.
dial?
yeah, it's wild. Yeah, I couldn't believe that. Let me call up my buddy Stuart, and Stuart Copeland shows up. Oh yeah, this is a great symbol. Yeah, it's from this time. It's this time. I've actually been looking for one of these. I'll give you, this much money. And it's like, oh yeah, sure, I'll take it. He's like, it's actually worth 3 times as much as that, but you already sold it to me.
That's it.
I bet if he signed it, it would be worth even more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he was keeping it for his own personal
Right,
collection, though. So
They're really reggae-ish
great.
too, man. They do a lot of reggae and rock and a
Yeah.
contrast.
A lot. Even if you listen
Yeah,
to Sting's vocals, woke up this morning, don't believe what I saw. It's Jamaican.
Very,
yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Old Jamaican, the way he sings it, but people don't comprehend that.
Yeah.
Like you said, they just, oh yeah, it's a good song.
But again, they don't understand the intricacies, and they were like one of the first like white boy bands to really like start like transferring, the reggae sound. Yeah, exactly.
Well, actually, The Clash before them.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I guess I guess you would say
Listen to
that.
Around the
Clash
same time.
albums, and you'll be like, holy shit, these guys, you
London
listen to a
Calling.
lot of their stuff, and it's all Jamaican.
Wow.
Would you say London Collins like that?
No.
Nah.
No. They had their, fill of rock and punk, but
Wow. That's all I
there was a
knew.
lot of reggae in that.
I'm
If you ever
surprised, man.
listen to old Clash albums,
Nah, I never
you're
heard.
like, oh shit, these guys were like before the time.
Yeah. And definitely led into the ska movement, in the 80s, which then really picked up in the 90s, like Mighty Mighty Boss Tones, Sublime, all that kind of stuff.
Fishbone
So,
even.
yeah, Fish. I totally forgot about Fishbone.
Good man.
I opened up for them
No
actually.
shit, man. Where at Spit?
At Sundance.
Oh, wow.
Sundance. That's one I never got to go. I guess I just missed it by the time I started getting into shows. Actually, the first shows I started going to see, I was 13, sneaking in the back door to the Harry Lemon.
Oh my God.
Oh, wait, why do I remember that
We
place?
played there, Gina. That was in Selden. That's now Brody McKay's.
Okay, same location,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Same-
yeah.
Okay.
So
I remember the name of it.
seeing like Exciter and like
my God.
all those bands back then. So yeah, yeah, sneaking in the back door. My friend's dad, he knew the owner, so like as long as he sits in the corner, and I'm like,
Yeah,
so,
no one else see him.
yeah. Oh, my mother doesn't see this. Yeah.
Hey.
So speaking of which, Paul, you've been in numerous projects. I've been seeing you throughout the year. So what project number is this anyway?
Oh, this is my number 1 project.
There you go. All right.
He
This
says
is
that to
my-
everybody.
No. This is my baby. I created this with Gina. Me and Gina, this is our baby. Funny story. My band before the Sister Blind, it was coming to an end, and we're in a rehearsal studio, and I hear this band next door, and they were fucking atrocious, but the drummer kicked ass. I'm like, who the fuck's playing drums on it? This fucking, the singer can't sing for shit.
That band didn't last very long.
Yeah, the bass player's out of tune. I'm like, so I stick my head in there, and I'm like, I've seen Gina around, but I really didn't know her. So I said, well, I got to introduce myself because I got to start a band with this girl because this fucking girl kicks ass on drums. I don't look at her as a female, male. I look at her as a drummer. You know, she's my sister now, but at that time she was a drummer. And me and her hooked up. She was just, her band was, people had were moving out of state, and the band was, you know, going through some stuff. So me and her hooked up, and it took us a little while to find, you know, the right members to get it started. And then once we started, it was full throttle.
Yeah.
But like I said previously, my number one priority is original music. The cover shit's great for making money, but I'm not that shallow or egotistical that I feel, oh, I gotta sing cover music. No, I feel that way about original music. I gotta create. These people already created it. I'm just imitating them. I need to create something on my own. So, this is it. Yeah, creating is a total high.
And you guys, like I said, have a great sound. I love the combination of like so much of the old school mixed with the new school between like the drumming. Like guys could be playing like a classic kind of like, you know, riff, just kind of driving it. You got like a more modern style on the drums. You have like these super powerful vocals, you know, and it's just like a combination of everything that I love all together into one thing. So I've always enjoyed seeing you guys throughout the years.
Thanks.
So looking forward to seeing what you guys continue to put out. Let's see.
Cool.
Where else do we go from here now?
Where do we go?
I mean,
Where do we go now?
Well, speaking of which, with there being so many different elements to your sound, let's go through some of your guys' like influences. Like, you know, what do you take, you know, and bring into you know, into the creative process here?
Like bands or
yeah, like
musicians?
What's some of the bands, musicians that kind of like influenced you, and you find yourself like, you know, that's kind of what your little spice that you add onto the mix.
Jay, you can go first.
Well, I could be here for hours, but you know, huge fan of Tommy Lee, John Bonham, you know, Morgan Rose from Seven Dust, Gina Shock from the Go-Go's, Joan Jett was a huge influence. You know, if you look at my CD collection, I'm bipolar. Like, you'll see, like, Anthrax, Butcher Babies, and then you'll see, like, Melissa Etheridge, you'll see Ani DeFranco, you'll see Salt and Pepper, and then I'll have, like, Slayer, you know?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I really, obviously, rock and metal is my, you know, some of the newer bands. I love Hailstorm. I mean, they're not even new. They've been around for
a
over
while
10
now,
years now, you know, but Butcher Babies are awesome. Seven Dust is a huge, you know, Pantera, and Go-Go's, you know, I'm all over the place.
And there's nothing wrong with that. You go through like my MP3s and stuff like that. I got everything from like 1920s bluegrass music to like periphery and death metal. And then like in the bottom drawer of my tool cart, you know, I'm a machinist by trade. The bottom drawer of my tool cart is all like 80s blues rock, you know, everything like Jeff Beck, John Mayall, Johnny Winter.
Gary Moore.
Fred McDowell.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Gary Clark Jr.
Everything.
Like all. I got a huge collection of cassettes still, and I pop in from time to time when I'm there by myself late night.
About 20s bluegrass. That's before Earl Shrugs.
Yeah. So I'm trying to. There was a 4-disc set. Well, back then it was a 4-record set. It was a collection of like early bluegrass, Appalachian, you know, bluegrass and stuff like that. It's fantastic. I'll figure out the name and I'll pass it on to you. It's really good. Yeah.
That's fun.
As far as lead guitarists, Marty Friedman, you know, Megadeth.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with Marty.
Eddie Van Halen, of course. Dime, Zakk Wylde, Kirk Hammett, Steve Vai. You know, you can go on and on all day. And then as far as more like rhythm, like songwriting chops, James Hetfield, Metallica's probably my favorite band. John Schaefer from Iced Earth. I know it's very like sacrilege to say his name right now.
Yeah, these days, yeah.
Jerry Cantrell from Alice in Chains.
Okay.
And so forth. You know, I love the 80s thrash, Metallica, Megadeth, Anthrax, Slayer, Terra. I mean, growing up on all the 90s rock.
Yeah.
Also the classic rock from my parents. Reggae rock, punk, hardcore. I'm all over the place. But
And 90s metal, I think there's a lot of bands that like fell by the wayside that like deserved more, like Crowbar and Clutch and stuff like that, which some of them went to form, better bands like Down later on.
Love them.
So, but there was a lot of forgotten bands, Vision of Disorder, they were a little bit more later, but,
They were 80s,
even just the
90s,
even just the alternative rock from the 90s, grew up on that.
Speaking of which, I just saw Darius Rucker. He did an interview with Dak Shepard on his podcast, and like, you want to talk about an interesting career shift from like, the poppiest like rock band to
Hootie and the Blowfish to country music.
Yeah.
I had to do a gig.
We all know the words.
Yeah. I had to do a gig in Canada, and I had to learn that stupid fucking country song he did. It's like, oh my, and I had to learn it while I was driving.
Something wheel.
Oh, Wagon Wheel.
Wagon Wheel.
Which that's not his song. That's like one of those songs that has been covered thousands of times.
Really?
It's been around. I forget who did it originally, but it's like, I think from the 50s. One of the versions that I've heard that I've loved the most is Old Crow Medicine Show, which is they're a bluegrass band from Tennessee.
I
remember when they first came out years ago, like I heard them, they sound like a bunch of old guys sitting on a porch, but they were like 20-year-old dudes.
Yeah. Blowing on a wooden jug.
Yeah, and that was the first time I heard Wagon Wheel. So when Darius Rucker came out with it, and everybady's like, oh my God, this song's great. I'm like, that isn't his song.
Yeah.
Like, he does a good version of it, but I'm like, everybody's done that song.
That's what you, Bill?
Bass players that got me wanting playing basses, first was Geezer Butler.
Yeah.
And I learned all those songs. And from him, Cliff Amal.
Cliff Amal.
Les Claypool, Primus, and all these other projects. But when Primus came out, that changed everything. Changed everything.
Yeah. Why don't you step up to the mic just a little
They
bit
were
more?
great.
Okay.
There we go.
Les Claypool and Flea from the Chili Peppers. I enjoy his work. As far as bands I like to listen to, the Melvins, Butthole Surfers, Ween, Dixie Chicks, Slipknot, Mudvayne. I'm whatever mood I'm in,
Yeah, okay, that's good.
And my roots is country. Then when I was a teenager, I started to play all kinds of punk rock, and that got me into rock and roll. It was Motorhead, Misfits, Sam Hain, everything in that started to drive it in that direction.
Gotcha, yeah. I could hear the punk, as you were saying, Butthole Surfers, Melvin. Those are some names I haven't heard in a while.
Black Flag, yeah.
Black Flag.
Yeah, another great one,
I think people forget about Henry Rollins and the Madman.
Man, that was awesome, yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I think there's a video I seen of him. This was 90 something, and they're doing a show, and he's standing out in the crowd shirtless, and some dude keeps trying to take his belt off, and so he keeps smacking the guy's hand. The guy's trying to pull at his belt until finally he just starts wailing on the dude. I'm like, have you seen Henry Rollins? You do not want to fuck with that guy.
No.
Yeah, wild crowds.
Definitely, yeah. So that's my deal, man.
All right.
Right on.
And you are the chillest dude ever.
Thanks, man. Yeah, the second number of my blood pressure, I think, is like in the 60s. Oh, yeah, then, yeah.
Until he starts
Wild Bill, chillest guy ever.
It's like he goes from Bruce Banner to the Hulk.
There you go.
Dong, 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 dong.
And so how about you, Paul? I hear a lot of like power metal in your vocals, but what's your, where'd you get your start?
Orville Redenbacher.
Good stuff.
All right, good stuff. All right, so 3 albums out now. What would you say so far is like the one that has the catalog of the most songs that you guys tend to kind of like fall back on, that are the ones that like you really dig, or you're like as you move past and you move on to the new ones, you get excited about those, you want to keep with those, or is there certain like old ones that it's just like, yeah, this is the one where we kind of hit it?
You mean like playing live or just personal?
Personal in general, that like you might want, like, nah, this song's got to be on the set list. This is the one that I really like to go to.
Well, we have a couple that we try to keep standard because of what the people want to hear, and everyone seems to love the song "Shut Up and Buy Me a Drink." So that stays on the set.
In case you're interested.
That's on the set every show.
Source specimen on the CD.
Learn How to Drive and I Don't Care. people have been giving us a good reaction to. So those have been also in the set recently. But as Mike had said, we try to change every set we do. So we're like, hey, you know what? We haven't done One More Line in a long time. Let's throw that in a set. You know what? We haven't done Crazy Days in a while. Let's throw that in a set. Yeah. So we try to rotate it, but we usually have 2 or 3 songs that are kind of standard in the set. Otherwise, we just try to mix it up. And then once again, we try to throw at least one cover in. And our cover process is all over the place because basically what we do, there's 4 people in the band, there's 5 people, there's 7, whatever. Everybody pick one song that you would like to do. And everyone comes down. I want to do this song. Okay. I want to do this. Boom. And then we'll check it out. And if it works, and 9 out of 10 it does.
Yeah, we've very rarely
9 out of 10. There's a couple things, you throw shit on the wall, you see what sticks and what slides. There's a couple things over the years that didn't work out too well. Like, I'll never forget playing a show, and we all loved this song. Apparently, we were the only ones. We were doing Soulcraft by the Bad Brains.
Love that song.
We loved it.
Yeah.
We played it, and there weren't even crickets. It was just dead fucking silence.
It is on YouTube. We finished the song.
Is it?
And legit
Just dead silence.
No,
Nothing.
no cheers, no
No
boos,
cheers, no booze, no nothing. I think maybe you heard a beer being put on the bar. Like, here's your beer. Yeah, dead silence. So,
and then Johnny awkwardly goes up to the mic to like break the ice. He's like, "Oh, they don't like the Jamaican metal," or something like that. It was yeah. Oh my gosh. So it's a little embarrassing. It's funny to look back at now.
It was. But we try to keep it relevant and rocking, upbeat. You don't want to be like Stained and do like all this depressing shit. Like after the show, I had a friend of mine. He used to do an open mic, and with open mics, usually you do the first 2 or 3 songs to get it going. This guy's music was so depressing, I told him at the end of every show he should hand out razor blades. Because basically, the shit you're singing, I could be in the best mood in the world. I want to slit my fucking wrist. You are depressing the shit out of me. You make fucking Stained sound like the Partridge Family. I mean, the music was so depressing. What's a song about my dog dying? Why the fuck would you do that? What's this song about? My grandmother dying. Do you write any songs about people that aren't dying? Yeah, well, this one, I didn't know the people, but it was a plane crash. Dude.
You guys having a good time? Yeah, well, that's going to end now.
Dude.
No, you gotta get a way to get
People want to hear something. I'm not saying play disco in it, but they want to hear something at least somewhat upbeat.
Yeah.
And not so depressing. Life can be very depressing, especially around these times now. It's very depressing. So why do you want to depress people more?
And if you're going to do depressing music, I'd suggest the Smiths because, well, they're depressing as hell. They're so talented, and like the music could be sounded so happy, and then you listen to the lyrics, like, oh, I got to go on some pills. Right now.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've been in the band 4 years now. I think the cover list has doubled probably since I joined. There was only like maybe 12 or 15 covers. Now we're up to 30.
Yeah.
Jeez. So you guys got quite the set list.
Yeah, well, like I said, these days there's really no places to play original music. So in order to get some of our original music out, you have to make that sacrifice. You gotta sandwich it in that fucking Black Crowes song, that Aerosmith song, whatever. Yeah, this is a new song of ours. We have our discs for sale if you like it. Hey man, could you play some Motley Crue? Yeah, okay, this is one of our new original songs. Shout out to Devil Dude.
Give me something to dance to, please.
Yeah. You got something I could dance to? Yeah, Motorhead dancing on my grave. Let's do it.
You gotta play like Britney Spears.
You know?
The Children of Bodom did an awesome version of Oops, I Did.
Did they really?
You've never heard that?
never heard that.
Another one,
great.
rest in peace, Lexi Laver.
Yeah,
I know.
It's to cover Better Razors in a band.
right.
Jeez, about 15
I have
years
to hear
ago.
that.
Yeah, that was good. So now with your extensive list of covers, like you were mentioning some ones like you've done Seven Dust and stuff like that. How do you manage with the different sounds, like especially like guitar? You know, like Seven Dust plays a lot of stuff on 7 strings and lower tunings and stuff like that.
Like corn.
Yeah. How do you guys like get around those?
Seven Dust, for example, we do our own drop B, which is
Okay.
a 6th string, and we just drop the bottom string from an E to a B.
Okay.
We don't.
I don't do any of
No,
that.
I do. I'm sorry. Yeah.
That's where a 5-string comes in handy.
You know what? I
talking
live in
about.
drop tuning. Then when songs are played in a higher pitch, I just finger them differently. So if
Yep.
you see my fingers and his fingers on the same song, you're
Different
like, how does
place
that
on the
work?
neck.
That's how that
Your
works.
finger licking good.
Funny enough, I was in a band where I used to do the opposite. They would play in a lot of lower tunings, but I was playing lead and I was playing mostly harmonies, and it was like a pop punk, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I'd leave my guitar in standard tuning, and I was just, finding different higher
right.
harmony spots. So
Yeah.
there was all this sonic range because they're playing like drop D and
Yep.
C, and I'm finding harmonies up top.
Right
and
on. That's good.
And that's where that two guitar thing comes in handy,
Or if you look at each other, well, in Dormitory Effect, my bass player Eurith literally did Jimi Hendrix style. She took a right stringed, I don't know the proper term, but
Yeah, yeah.
bass, and just flipped it over. So her low string is like where the high string would be. So when we were writing stuff, like Meredith would be like, like it's just funny because like she's like opposite, and it was crazy to watch her. Still to this day.
I don't know how people do that.
It's-
There's
she's
a guy
awesome.
that fixes guitars not too far away from here, and I brought a guitar to him once, and same thing. All of a sudden, he just flips it lefty, and he's playing it.
It's wild.
I'm like, how do you do that?
crazy.
He's like, how do you
Right?
play guitar?
That's what
Crazy.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, at least with Hendrix, like there was no lefty guitars, but he still strung it properly. But to play it
Exactly.
completely upside down,
She just,
crazy.
yep.
Tuning pegs upside down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. You gotta watch her.
yeah, that's
Here's
wild.
another guy that made me want to play music when I was a kid. I just would see his videos. I was like, wow, that dude's wild, man.
Hendrix, Hendrix,
Yeah.
amazing.
And still, like the one that I think captured his sound the most, Stevie Ray Vaughan. Yet again, there's somebody that like he had this influence and he could play Hendrix like nobody else, but then he'd add his own flair on it, and that's
Yeah, man. I bet if Jimmy was around to watch him, he would like it.
oh, absolutely.
You know?
And then I'm curious also about here we go back to Pearl Jam again. Mike McCready, he's a huge Hendrix head. So like even one of their early songs, Yellow Ledbetter, all the riffs are that's one of their best. But all the riffs you can hear it. It's totally
Hendrix
Hendrix,
influence.
all Hendrix. He's
is
doing even the
true.
thumb over and all these weird Hendrix chords and
Yeah.
stuff like
Even the
that.
Mad Season album he did. A lot of that on there also.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wait,
That album.
Temple, well, both of them, right?
Temple
Mad
of the
Season
Dog?
and Temple.
Temple of the Dog, yeah.
Cool.
And people forget Mad Season. That was with Lane Stanley, right?
Yes.
Yes.
That was
I
an
love-
amazing album.
I love
That's one of our covers.
the version of that John Lennon song they did, I Don't Want to Be a Soldier. Amazing. It's just amazing.
Yeah, from what I hear, like, because that whole scene, everybody was friends, and they were worried about Lane, when he was
Well,
really
they
starting
all,
to drop
that
out.
band got put together because they all met each other in rehab.
Yeah, absolutely.
No way, wow.
And they wanted to give him, like, you got to get back into it. Let's do this other little side project thing. And, like, it didn't really take off like, Temple of the Dog did in the early days,
Right.
which actually even Temple of the Dog didn't get bigger until later on.
Yeah.
But yeah, almost nobody knows about Mad Season. And some of the songs, they think it's Temple of the Dog.
We
It's
actually
like,
play a Mad Season cover.
that's awesome.
We do.
that's cool.
I Don't Know Anything.
That's cool. That's a haunting song.
Great song.
Yeah, that's a good one.
You could just hear the needle hanging out of his arm.
I know. I know. It's scary.
Yeah, it's freaking 2020 is gone. 2021 is here.
Yes.
So we're hoping things open back up. When things do start start to open back up, are you guys ready to get right out? Or are
Absolutely.
You gonna, okay.
Hell yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So now the next question is, where's it going to be?
I mean,
Everything is closing. How do you guys feel about that?
We're going to do what we did last year for our CD release party, and that is rent out a park.
Yeah.
Last year, we got a
fun.
permit, and we had no place to do our CD release party. So we said, screw this, we're doing a CD release. So we got a permit, and we had a big party in the park as a CD release.
Yeah, I saw the video.
Lots of
It was
people
fun,
there,
man.
social distancing,
Mm-hmm.
barbecuing,
Masks.
having a great time. And actually, I think we're going to do that again this year in May.
That's a great
That's
idea.
gonna be awesome. Yeah, a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Yep.
My biggest question is,
I don't know. I don't
he
know
made
how
the
to
cardinal
do that.
sin. You know what? I
you
probably
go.
didn't turn off my phone either. So you know,
Got the fire alarm.
Yes.
So when you guys did that, because how did you power that? You know, I was curious. I was like,
Generator.
Really, I didn't hear a generator or anything in the background. So
Exactly.
you guys did good. You got one of those quiet ones. There's this production company that I've worked for, and we did this big thing out in the Bronx, and they had these giant battery cells. No, not even a generator. Battery cells. Like they were these giant blocks that were batteries, and I think we had 4 blocks taped off, and we had some Sony VRX 900s, and we had 4 of them per block, and we had the front of house somewhere in the middle. It was over by Arthur Avenue, and it was at the New York Pizza Festival, and so they had a DJ and a stage and everything, and we ran everything off of 2 of these power cells for 3 days.
Wow.
Yeah, so,
that's
but
crazy.
I asked him, I was like, how much do one of these things cost? He's like, don't even.
Yeah,
don't
I
even.
couldn't
We didn't even buy it, we rented it.
Yeah, but after you rent it 10 times, you might have been halfway there buying it.
That's
right?
a good point.
Exactly.
That's a good point, but I would love one of those things. So, but again, we were just powering some speakers. It wasn't like a full band. There was a DJ and stuff like that. But yeah, 3 days it was out there, you know. And
great.
it was fantastic. So I guess technically 2 days because you had half of the first day, half on the last day, and then set up, breakdown, all that. So yeah, so outdoor gigs. That's I can't wait. Like I would love to get back out to going to shows. I would like to take this podcast out on the road.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
there's so many bands that are just chomping at the bit. Even comedy, comedians are dying. That's one thing I don't understand. Like you could go out to a bar or something. There's limited seating inside and stuff like that. You can go and hang out, and some of them have had bands now and whatnot. But like comedy was shut down. Like comedy clubs, like you could go in and watch the TV, but you can't have a guy on stage telling
Broadway too.
Yeah.
Broadway got slammed.
Yeah, doesn't
comic,
make fucking sense.
Everything, and then they close at 10 o'clock because the virus comes out at 10:01.
Yeah.
What time is it?
Yeah,
It's out. Is it out now?
It's 10:23 right now, so the
goodness.
virus is
Ready to
out.
go.
So
all right.
guys,
We're
watch
fucked.
when you walk out.
Yeah.
It's all over.
I also do a radio show, Double Trouble Radio. It's on iRadioUSA.com. And trust me, there is billions of original bands from all over the world with some great music, but we'll never hear it. And it's a sin. I have gotten over the past 6 months over a dozen bands from New Zealand sending me their stuff. Every single one of those bands should have been signed because they were phenomenal. I've had bands from Japan, all over the world. There is so much great music out there, but all we hear is Journey and Billy Joel and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I don't understand.
So we're just another victim of that. Computers, the internet, it's a kiss and a curse.
Yeah.
It killed the music industry because now you got people making CDs out of their basement.
Oh, everybody's musician.
Nobody gets signed. Nobody gets signed. Back in the day, Prince got signed for $50 million. When do you hear it? You don't.
No.
It's over and done. So that kind of killed the music industry, but it also introduced a lot of bands.
Yeah.
If you go on YouTube and this and that and that. So, yeah, that's where it is now. But let's get to rocking some music.
Yeah. All right. So let the people know, first off, where they can find your music.
Sure. Well,
Go ahead. Come on.
Guess what?
we got 3 albums.
You had the marketing,
Specimen Cup, the debut.
which I love that title.
Thank you.
Karma and Chaos. And the newest one, Keep It Real. You'll hear a little bit from everything tonight, actually, technically.
Yeah. Look how ahead of its time it is with the mask on this one. I mean, no one was even
No one was even thinking of that.
We knew 5 years ago.
We do sell the actual physical CDs. You can just message us on social media, and we'll gladly...
Mike will deliver them personally to your house.
Yes, even if you're in
walk to your
Afghanistan.
house, actually.
Young Buck.
Yes.
Buck Youngins.
Buck
Buck
Youngins.
Youngins delivery.
Buck Youngins delivery service.
But if you're more interested in the digital releases, we have iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, even Napster.
Yeah.
Tidal.
Wait, Napster?
Yeah.
Wait, they're still around?
Still around.
Yeah.
Holy
And then we
shit.
got Facebook, Reverb Nation,
Instagram.
YouTube, Twitter. So basically, you can find us.
You guys are
very easy to
Everywhere on the
find.
web.
We'll be your friend, I promise.
Yes, yes.
Search up Terror Garden, and you will find them, and we'll have a link in the description. And speaking of which, make sure you go to our playlist, because these fellas and lady are about to rock the fuck out of Wadio Studio. Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for joining us here.
Peace out. Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
All right, take it easy.
Been awesome.
JT.